Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the movie of What If Issei was someone's reincarnation. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Be possible but it did. Yo, Issei, wanna follow us peek the kendo club a bald guy who is one of thin a perverted duo called out. No, I refused and slump onto the table, I want to sleep, and then I'll pick you guys up after. Boring as always. Now a forehead guy came into the scene, his glasses glistening in this motion I thought were not possible had it not been the fact that I'm in this world. The kendo club has girls whose body proportions are heavenly compared to your average high school girls in your average high school. I don't care, just go. I sighed, closing my eyes. You guys would still go even if I rolled you not to. Damn right. They both yelled as they nose flared before they bolted out of the classroom for their indecent acts. Idiots. I sighed yet again, why can't these guys hold back their libido? A voice resounded in my head. I opened my eyes and lazily relaxed my head on my palm. Hey, no matter what I do, I can't avoid them. He asked. Plot convenience, I guess. I shrugged. Nothing. I took a sharp inhale and breathed it all out to calm myself. Anyway, that's all there is to it. Either way, I can't leave them alone. I slump onto the table once again, closing my eyes. All right, I've already run out of my social energy, so please let me sleep. He growled before sighing again. Trust me, if it was the original Issei, he would beat me by huge miles. I muttered lastly before drifting to sleep, ignoring all of D-Drag's questions. Yes, I have, for some incredibly unknown reasons, somehow reincarnated as Hyoudou Issei, the protagonist of a well-known Isekai harem action series High School DxD, as a man of culture who enjoys literatures and entertainment of invaluable prices like light novels, mangas and animes. This was too ridiculous for even Isekai enthusiasts to accept. Was it a dream come true? Well, that is up for interpretation. But for someone like me, it's far more complicated. The memories of my past life was a bit fuzzy. There were things I didn't remember that could only be remedied with time, but I did remember things before my reincarnation. Unlike most conventional Isekai tropes that overuses truckun as excuses or any cause of death to migrate protagonists into another world, my reincarnation happened whilst I was still alive and well. I was your average college student living off his student loans and worked part-time as a counter in a cyber cafe. What triggered my reincarnation was me playing a game while someone beside me were watching High School DxD, uncensored, and didn't even try to hide it at all. Someone with common sense would have tried to hide it or simply download it from some malware-filled pirated websites, but this guy didn't. He was watching the anime with arms crossed and eyes focused on the monitor, like he was observing a masterpiece. I may love High School DxD as it is actually the one that got me into this whole otaku stuff, but even I admit that it isn't really a masterpiece. Is it good? Yes, definitely. It's an opinion and nothing else. But it isn't perfect. It has some flaws that many people can point out and use as an excuse to not like the series. I don't think it's perfect, but it is very enjoyable. So when I saw him watching the anime like it was a gift from the gods, I can't help but shake my head. Along with some thoughts regarding how such opinion regarding an Isekai harem action series is a bit of a stretch, another thought crossed my mind. It was when, as the guy was watching, Issei got himself buried under breasts of ridiculous but heavenly proportions whilst the owners fight over his affections. I'm not a boob man nor am I a hips man, but I do understand the appeal. After all, I am a man. And something from fiction like Rias and Akino is one many otaku desire for. Girls whose appearance are out of this world and loves you for who you are, to accept your every flaw, to adore every qualities you possess, to accept you as a whole. Who wouldn't want that? Otaku, in the current age, are people who still wasn't accepted by the vast majority of society. In a way, they lack affection, and I was no different. Even as someone who compromised with reality to continue on living as both an otaku and a normal person, I have crushes on fictional characters, waifus, as they are called. And the desire for them becoming my own is there too, but not really all that present. But of course, it is impossible since it's not real. The things we watched are not real and will not be real no matter what one might do. To deny such notion is to become a delusional fool. I may be an otaku, but I'm an otaku that accepts reality for what it is. And so, it crossed. Lucky bastard. That was what I thought at the time, and now that I think about it, it shouldn't even be something to be envious of. Because realistically speaking, getting so many girls get into you and fighting for you would be, sorry if I sound arrogant, very irritating and bothersome. Thinking prematurely, of course getting girls to like you is a very desirable thing. But when you think about it carefully maturely, life isn't all about love. There is more to life than love. We may lack some, but there are more things in the world to fill your life with than just love. This is a misconception many people made, and it goes to idealistic lengths, for example Disney. And besides, romance isn't the only love that exists in this world. People call me cynical for criticizing society in Japan with their obsession of normality and collective consciousness, but what I speak is harsh truth, and truth has always been a bitter pill to swallow. How can someone good at games be creepy? How can someone sharing different interests be outcasts? How can someone like those people be pushed down at the bottom of social ladders? It isn't fair, right? But it is realistic for me to simply ignore such things since compared to the majority, I'm insignificant. No things I do would change anything. I'm simply a normal college student who happens to like otaku culture. What do you expect from someone like that to do? This isn't a shonen anime or manga where you can do anything. However, there are times I can be positive, and it's already been there this whole time. The things I enjoy, they brought joy to my life. When I'm stressed from assignments, I read light novels to lighten up my mind. When I'm down, I read mangas to lift me up. When I mess things up, I watch animes to distract myself. Some may call that running, but I preferably call that a coping mechanism. For if things like that doesn't exist in my life, I may tread down a path too dark for me to look back and return. So yes, it shouldn't been lucky bastard. It should have been glad I'm not that bastard, because that was the whole reason this happened. It's just when I finished that thought, I suddenly find myself down on the floor, blood dripping from my head. Unfamiliar yet familiar sensation of a small body I of that time current possess. Sights that I contemplate whether I know or didn't know. Voices of people that both I knew and didn't. The two different people that are Tadahira Kurosawa and Hyoudou Issei began to fight for the vessel they're currently in. Torrents of emotions and memories all clash and churn, but ultimately, Kurosawa won. The life experience that spans more than 21 years would of course overpowers that of merely 7 years. And so, someone belonging to a world where things like High School DxD are anything but real have become the protagonist of said series. I don't know what kind of an asshat of a deity that would put me in such situation, but I refuse to become Hyoudou Issei or anything else people expected me to. Meeting expectations had been my worst area, and that's not going to change, even more so in this world, as I will do the best of my ability to not meet those expectations. Because to do that is to pretend. To pretend is to lie. And to lie means lying to myself. That's not something I would nor will do. To become someone else would mean to forsake who I am. Change is a debatable topic, but it isn't all bad. But becoming a different thing is not the change people talk about. I refuse to become puppets controlled with strings. I want to become a puppet without strings, puppet that move by itself, puppet that can no longer be called a puppet. To simply put it, I want to become a real human like I once was in my past life. Even if it means suffering. Even if it means I'll be all alone. Even if I have to hate myself all over again. After all, who hates me more than the person himself? Are you sure you're okay? Issei-kun, a young girl, specifically younger version of a character I know being Hyoudou Arena, asked. Shouldn't we tell this to your parents? After making this whole thing to make sense, it came to me that I tripped when I was running around with Arena and hit my head on a wall. Maybe that was how I came to remember who I was, or a trigger for the reincarnation process to work. My eyes, lack of expressions, turned towards her direction and I nodded. This much is fine, I can patch it up with a first aid kit in my house. I finished as I hold my wound, blood trails from my head to my chin as it drips down. Though I said that, it still hurts like hell. It is probably because I currently reside in a body of a child, so my sensations to pain is pretty high. Thanks for the fact that I had 21 experience of life hid in my mind. The pain is something I familiarized myself with, though this body of course does not recognize it, which adds more to the pain. Crying would do me no good even if I'm a kid right now, and it would betray the age of the person I was in my past life. So all I could do now is return home and tend this injury. It looks really painful, but you don't look like you're in too much pain. That is pretty awesome. Arena grinned. So this is how she acts when she's younger also? You look different than before. I hummed. How so? You sound like you're trying to act older. Arena pointed out, which I quickly realized. Right, I used the or pronunciation of myself instead of boku like any kid would. Of course, using that as a kid would make me look like a brat that tries too hard to act like he's older than he actually is. Oh right, I forgot. I replied whilst using boku, which got her to smile brightly. There you go. Arena nodded happily before furrowing her eyebrows. Also, you're usually very energetic, but now, you seem very down. I sighed. This one I can't change. Sorry, that's how I'm going to be from now on, so try to accept it. I quickly caught a drop of blood and cupped my hand below my chin to not let any more blood drip down. Ooh, okay. She pumps her fists. I'll try my best, Issei-kun. She's pretty tomboyish and acts akin to how a shonen protagonist would. With how cute she looks, I thought she'd be more girly, which is strange since didn't Issei mistake her for a guy when he told Kiba? Hey, guess I was wrong. Also, is this how most childhood friend acts in fiction? Promise me not to tell anyone about this, not even my parents, I said, sternly. Arena gulps and nodded. Oh okay. She quickly takes out her pinky finger. I pinky promise. I would have thought that this is pretty childish, but I once again had to remind myself that I am currently a child, so it is normal. Pinky promise. Why are you even the one suggesting it anyway? Alright. It's already sunset, so you should go back to your house, I said as we arrived at my home's doorstep. I don't need to walk you home since it's just right beside my house. Arena gave me a pout, but you always walk me home. Well, from now on, you can walk home alone. I waved. See you, Arena. I'm going to fix this up. She puffs her cheeks. After all that worrying, you became a jerk. Alright, fine. I walk home alone, you meanie. Idiot. She finishes and ran to just right beside the doorstep and entered her house, but not before sticking out her tongue at me like the child she is. I shrugged. Children. I entered my house and tried to remember where the first aid kit was. As a child, Issei don't have a great memorization skill, so even I find it hard to rely on his memory since most of it are blurs. However, using common sense, I found the first aid kit in the bathroom and began patching things up. Thankfully, the cut was small so I won't need to stitch it. All I need to do was to clean the wound and clean myself. My shirt's all bloody. Taking off my shirt and shorts, I put it into a washing machine and let it wash by itself. Whilst my clothes were washing, I slowly cleaned the wound using alcohol, which made me wince a bit when it made contact as it stung quite a lot before covering the wound with a bandage. I waited until the blood stops before I took a shower, which stung yet again due to the shampoo, and I forget that water could open back the wound, so I had to do it all over again. After all the things said and done, I picked up some clothes from my room and rested myself on the couch. Now that all is done, how in the hell did this happen? Getting accustomed to this body wasn't as easy as I thought. Although memories from my past life helped me, there were also times it didn't. Like for example when I eat. I was surprised when I couldn't finish the portion I usually had in my past life before the memories of child Issei kicked in. The metabolism of a child is vastly different from a young adult's. For a hardworking college student I of course eat quite a lot to compensate the loss of energy I spent doing work. But as a child, not only is my body small as well as my stomach, the consumption of energy was small as well. Helped with the fact that kids are brim with energy. That actually made me want to slap myself for not noticing such obvious and simple fact. I need to constantly remind that I'm in a body of a child and not a young adult's. As per usual, in accordance to Issei's memories, I go to elementary school and spend most of my days there. It all went by normally for a few days until this happened. I was trying to pass by time at the swings with Irina when something unexpected happened. 3 kids approached me and Irina with a look I know quite too well. The kid who seemed to be the leader frowned. "Hey, Hyoudou, why don't you hang out with us instead of this creepy boring guy?" I raised my eyebrows. "Come on, it'll be more fun." Irina, surprised, merely blinked and tilted her head. "No thanks, I want to play around with Issei-kun more." The kid scowled before he shoved me off from the swing, landing on my butt, which hurt a bit. "What's so good about this ugly frog anyway? I'm better than him. Issei-kun." Irina landed on her feet and ran towards me, worried. I sighed, rubbing my butt as I stand up, helped by Irina. I knew I would get bullied at some point of time, but I certainly did not expect to experience it this early on. From his words alone, the kid had some sort of superiority complex. I knew with how I look I would be at the bottom of social ladders, but I underestimated just when it could happen. I forgot that social establishment happened during elementary. That's where things go downhill back in my past life too. "Hey, what's the big idea?" Irina shouted as she growled at them, causing the leader to flinch back. "Go away, jerk. I don't want to play with you." The kid gritted his teeth. Of course, Irina is placed above him in social ladders. A lot of kids in the elementary knows who she is and quite liked her. So of course he wouldn't be able to fight back, because if he does that, he would turn everyone into his enemy. He glared at me, which I just furrowed my eyebrows at. "Don't think this is over, frog. I know I'm not attractive, but damn, does it hurt when someone points that out." I checked the mirror just in case when I returned home after the sudden transmigration and found out that some qualities I had back then was also transferred here into this body. Looks like I look as bad as I was back in my past life. My face lacks any sort of expressions, which many kids find creepy, and my dead eyes puts even adults off. I'm quite unlucky. Why do I have to suffer this again in another world? "Issei-kun, are you okay?" Irina asked, and I just nodded in return. "Yes, I'm fine." I dust off my pants. I need some time alone. I didn't wait for her response and merely walked away. If Irina continues to hang out with me, people might judge her badly, since not many kids in our elementary likes me. It's a bit harsh and it sounds very selfish, but it is the truth. I might not be thinking what she wants, but what she wants might end up become the sole reason of her isolation. And the last thing I need is a precious friend of mine suffering from my actions. I guess I need to avoid her now. The day went by normally and I had Irina go back home alone. It's subtle, but the kids around me began to show their dislike towards me by leaving me out of the groups and talk behind my back. Even the way they looked at me was different. I became an eyesore to them. Seems like the kid earlier had spread some rumors to make me stand out in a bad light. I was right to have decided to avoid Irina. This is not looking good. I might bang quite the predicament. Once I packed my things up, I sling my bag over my shoulder and walked home alone until I tripped down and had my chin landed fall flat on the ground. Pain shot through my chin as I winced. I was pretty sure I walked properly, so what could have? "Hey, ugly frog." I blinked and raised my head to see the same kid that shoved me earlier. "Where are you going?" I sighed and stood up, dusting off my clothes. "Home. Just leave me alone." I was caught off guard when a fist landed on my face, causing me to stumble backwards. Disorientated, I shook my head when suddenly I feel liquid flow from my nose. I blinked and just realized the kid actually punched me in the face as hard as he could and had caused internal bleeding on the bridge of the nose. "You're way in over your head just because Hyoudou plays with you." He then kicked me on my sides. His lackeys began to laugh. "Know your place, frog." I balled myself up as he began to kick me repeatedly. Look at him, all scared. One of the kids commented as others laugh. "Hyoudou is too good for you. Stay away from her." Yeah. My sides hurt quite a lot. Why does things like this have to happen? Why again? Once he was done, I found myself feeling nothing. If you get closer to her again, I will make you regret it, the kid said before kicking me yet again, but this time, it was on my exposed abdomen, which caused me to gasp for air. Got it. He left quickly after. I just lie down there trying to minimize the pain until it goes away before facing up at the skies, feeling every ounce of my will drained. With this body, I can't really fight back. I can't control the power of the Red Dragon Emperor with this weak body. No, that was just an excuse. It's not that I can't fight back, it's that I don't want to. The things that happened to me in my previous life had me become petrified when things like this happened. In a way, I am scared. Not of them, but for the consequences. If I fight them back and miraculously win, what would happen then? I would become no better than them and things will deep dive into the abyss from then. I was scared of that, the path I would tread if I fight back. So instinctively, I let them do what they want with me. I sighed and stood up, picking up my things before going back home. I wasted no time in washing my clothes and tend to my injuries. After my parents came back home, they asked why my chin was injured, so I just lied to them, telling I tripped when I played around with Irina. They accepted that reasoning, seeing as they are tired from work, and went to sleep after making dinner. I too slept after I ate dinner. Things are going to get tough from now on, that was what I thought before drifting off to sleep. I found myself in a dark scape, feeling familiar as when I look at my hands, I was in the body of my past self. Seems like I'm currently dreaming, though retaining this much self-awareness tell me otherwise. I looked around before I saw Issei in his child form, hugging his knees with tears streaming down his cheeks. I raised my eyebrows and went towards him. I crouched down. What's wrong? I asked. What is wrong with you, child? Issei replied, looking at me with anger in his eyes. How can you let them do whatever they want to you? How can you let them decide things for you? I gave it a thought. I guess I know my place, I shrugged. What makes you think fighting back is any good as well? It's to protect yourself. And Reincarnation as well. I cringed when he shouted, he's a kid all right. Emotionally unstable. What makes you different than them then? I asked, tilting my head. By making them submitting through brute force. What is it that you want to do any different from them? He glared at me, gritting his teeth. They did it because they want to. Protect Irina from us. His eyes widened. Of course, since you haven't experienced the same things as I did, you wouldn't know. I sighed. Issei, we stepped over our boundaries. What are yo? Irina is a nice girl. I cut him off. She's a very nice girl who didn't spare any thoughts when she plays with us. Don't you think we were too conceited when we hang around with her by occupying her time too much, not letting other kids to have the chance to do the same? But Reincarnation wants to hang out with us as well. Issei fought back and I just shake my head. You're merely using that as an excuse for your self-interest, Issei. His irises dilated, as if reality just dawned upon him. It was merely circumstantial. Irina lived next door to us and we happened to be her first playmate. What she did was natural, there wasn't anything special in it. What do you mean? He asked, refusing to look at me in the eyes. If she didn't live next door to us, I relaxed my chin on my palm as I crouched. Would she really interact with us that way? Would she act the same as she did when she lived next door? Of course she wouldn't. I exhaled through my nose. She would just be a stranger to us and we will be all alone. I am indeed thankful that she hangs around with us currently, but we took her time by too much. I look up, staring at the black skies. We occupied Irina for too long and the people around us didn't like that. I shrugged. Irina isn't ours, Issei. She isn't and will never be. I know you like her more than just a friend, but drill that thought into your mind. Too, his tears increased and he began to bawl his eyes out. I like Reincarnation, I really liked her. I smiled and nodded. I know, which is why I think we should avoid her from now on. I look at him in the eyes, patting his head and do what I can to comfort him. If Irina continues to hang around with us, she would suffer the same fate as us. Would you like that to happen? He vigorously shook her head. Of course you don't. This is the least we can do to repay her kindness. But wouldn't she be sad? He asked, and I nodded. She would, but that is only for momentary. I softly ruffled his hair. Think of the long term, Issei. After that, she can have all the happiness she has in the world. I see. Okay. He nodded, mustering a smile which somehow makes me proud. If that's what it takes to make her happy, then I agree. I nodded, smiling satisfyingly. This is one strong kid. Good. The dark scape slowly brightened in the color of white, indicating my time here is nearly over. Well, Issei, looks like we ran out of time. I stood up. We may have a chance to talk again, but I don't know when. It's a pleasure to meet you, Issei. He grins brightly. Same here, Carousel and I. I turned around and waved. See you. Bye-bye, Carousel and I. The scape around light up and that blinded my vision. A few weeks after that exchange, I was still bullied a lot, but then one of the kids that were bullying me got injured due to his clumsiness. This caused a huge breakout when he reported that I am the one who hurt him. Things were looking so grave even Irina herself didn't know what to do. When she tried to come to my rescue, I refused her help and asked her to stay away. Clearly, she was devastated with the situation I was in, but I couldn't risk her ruining her life. Even if she one day would become a wielder of one of the Excalibur fragments, she needs to enjoy her youth as much as possible. Me being in her life isn't one of them. The school principal called my parents over as well as the kids. I was sitting outside at the opposite end of the kid who was smirking as his parents yelled at mine. Meanwhile, I was just staring at him, feeling empty. Hyoudou-kun, Kirige-kun, enter inside. The principal called, but I noticed hate was laced in her tone when she called my name. I entered inside along with the kid who took the chance to elbow me at my ribs, which was still painful from all those beatings. I winced a bit as pain registered, but I ignored it. His parents were glaring at me. It tells me everything I needed to know. Their clothes looks expensive, which means they're the upper-class family. Going by their expressions alone, they're the type of parents that spoils their children rotten. On the other hand, my parents were staring at me sadly. Kasen especially. She seemed really sad and angry. Strange. Hyoudou-kun. The principal called and I lifted my gaze up to meet her terrifying gaze. Why did you hit Kirige-kun? She asked, tapping her feet as she waits for my reply. I didn't hit him, I replied. She immediately slams her fist onto the table, surprising my parents but not me. Stop lying, she shouted. I continued to stare at her without feeling a thing. The others had saw what you did, many of them. It seems you've been doing this for weeks now. Who do you think you are? Nobody. I narrowed my eyes. I'm not lying. Hyoudou. My homeroom teacher called and I find myself staring at him. Tell them the truth. For some reason, however, Tausen and Kasen glared at him. I am telling the truth, I persisted. Oi, your child is rude. What kind of things did you teach to him? The mother of the kid asked, looking at my parents like they were insignificant. I'm sure Issei wasn't being rude, he was just answering normally. Tausen narrows his glare onto her. I ask that you be more respectful, Kirige-san, because you're the one being rude here. That caught her off guard as she faces away from him after that. Hyoudou-kun. The principal glared. Apologize. I look at her for a few seconds before staring at the kid and bowed. I'm sorry. Why does my son have to apologize? Kasen glared at the principal. He already said he didn't do it. With due respect, Hyoudou-san, kids can lie. The principal replied, trying to make a sound argument, which can be said the same with theirs. Tausen pointed out, Issei tend to hide things from us quite a lot, but he can't lie when things are this serious. Then you didn't taught your son well. The father of the kid replied, scoffing. Goes to show how incompetent you two are. You lack self-aware, Kirige-san. Kasen smiled, like she didn't even take what he said seriously. Well, things will not be settled between us here if we keep talking. Issei already apologized. My mistake. He was forced to apologize. What's next, principal? The principal looked at me. I'll have him apologize to his class as well. That would be the end of it. Kasen's smile became something different. It seems you still think my son is at fault. I see, very well. She nodded before patting my head. Issei, follow after principal here and apologize. Even if you don't mean it, just do it all right. I raised my eyebrows and nodded. Good. Apologize properly, Kai. Tausen cut off the kid's father. Excuse me, but it is not your place to teach my son. We prefer it if you both shut up and leave. The father glared, but Tausen pressed on with his gaze and the kid's father backed off. Your son is at fault here. Tausen and Kasen ignored him and merely gave me an encouraging smile. Let's go, Hyoudou-kun. The principal called and I followed her. Once we were in class, the principal halted the teacher from teaching. Sensei, Hyoudou-kun here have something to say, so can you spare a bit of time? Of course, principal. The guy nodded. All right, class, listen up. Hyoudou-kun here has something to announce. Since Hyoudou-kun here has caused you all problems, he came here to apologize. The principal said before motioning me to do as she asked. Hyoudou-kun, apologize. I blinked before staring emptily at the class, the lackeys, and the ones who bullied me snickers at my current situation. Everyone. I bowed. I apologize for the problems I've caused. I stood up straight. I'm sorry for being so over in my head. I hope you can forgive me. Irina, who was watching this whole scene, stared at me wide-eyed. Her eyes began to water, and when she tried to stand up, I looked at her and shook my head. Don't, I mouthed. Her lips quivered. She sat back down and tears burst out of her eyes. He made Reincarnation cry. One of the kid commented, you're the worst, frog. How can we forgive you when you made Reincarnation cry? What did you do to Reincarnation, you creep? Looking at him now, he's gross. You shouldn't have existed. Die, ugly frog. How can you do something like that? Other kids followed suit and began to throw insults at me, accusing me of doing things I never did. The teacher and the principal didn't do anything to calm them down and merely let me receive the verbal abuse. Irina was about to refute that claim, but I once again shook my head. Her eyes widened yet again and she bit her lips. Tears continued to pour out of her eyes. Right, I'm sorry. I look at her properly before smiling softly. I'm sorry, Irina. I hope you can forgive me for the things that I did. Tears came out more and she nodded, forcing out a smile. Of course, Issei-kun. To forgive you. Well, this is really painful. But I guess I deserved it, All right. The principal walked out of the class. Sensei, resume with the studies while I bring Hyoudou-kun here to his parents. I was brought out and saw my parents were waiting outside. It seems they were discussing something but then quickly ceased it once they saw me nearing them. The principal, arms crossed, told them that I was going to be in detention. I would not attend school for a week because of what I apparently did, which my parents accepted. Then, Tausen handed out a piece of paper. Here. The principal took it and her eyes widened. What is this? Kasen smiled. It's a school transfer form. I'm sure you know that, don't you? Yes, but why? The principal frowned. I deem this school to be incapable of taking care of their students well, principal. Tausen answered in a cold tone I never thought he'd had, not even in the series. And don't even think of giving our son negative impressions on those papers. Kasen said, glaring at her but still has that smile. Otherwise, we will have to bring this problem to Iwasaki Manabusen and have him help. I'm sure you recognize him. The principal widened her eyes as her hands shake. Why you? Just like Kirigayasan, we have connections. And we're very displeased at what this school did to our son. Towson said. His tone was still very cold. Manabusen would not be pleased when he hears this. Fine. Do whatever you want. She gritted her teeth and walks away. Fear was written all over the place. Is it just me, or are my parents seemed much different than they're supposed to be in the original series? It's like they're different people entirely. Issei. Kasen warmly smiles at me. Let's go home. I blinked, nodding slowly. All right. This feels different somehow. Something is definitely wrong here. Once we were home, Towson went back to his work whilst Kasen called her workplace that she was currently busy and asked a few days off. Once she was done, she looks at me before tears streamed down from her face. My eyes widened and I was baffled. Kasen. Issei, take off your shirt. She sobbed, and I was stuck there looking like a statue. Take your shirt off now. I slowly, albeit hesitantly, took off my shirt, exposing my bruised body. Feeling a bit insecure, I tried to cover my body, but that only made things even worse as she cried even more. She embraced me in a warm hug and I find myself dazed, confused and scared at what was happening. Who is this? What is happening? Why is this happening? I'm sorry, she said, sobbing as tears began to drop onto my body. I knew you were having trouble fitting in school, but for it to be this much, I'm sorry. I should have been there. Unconsciously, a tear streaks down onto my cheeks. Of course. Why did I not see it sooner? Issei's parents actually cared about him. I was projecting mine onto them. Their love is subtle, but in the series, they cared for him in a different way. How stupid of me to notice it just now. I'm so dumb. I know I don't want to change, to fit into whatever sadistic deity that decided to put me into this body. But I shouldn't compare them to Karasawa's parents. They are different people entirely. That much should be obvious. I thought they didn't care for me and merely worked their jobs off as mandatory procedure of taking care of a child. I was wrong. I was so wrong. They work for money. They work as corporate slaves to give me a comfortable life. They work because they loved me. They work for me. With shaking hands, I wrapped my arms around Kasen's body and smiled with tears streaming down my face. Is this what it feels like to be loved? You're also moving to Kyoto Prefecture. Irina blinked. Her new appearance were something else as well. I thought I'd never see you again. I was going to cry. She smiles, wiping out tears from her eyes. Yeah, I was surprised myself. I shrugged before furrowing my eyebrows. But why did you cut your hair? You look like a boy now. It's annoying when boys around me keep asking me to play with them when I just want to play with you. She huffed. She didn't like the attention she received as the cutest girl in our previous elementary. So I cut my hair to look like a boy. That way, they won't bother me anymore. Not even when I move away to Kyoto Prefecture. I see. Nodding, I sighed and smiled at her. Looks like we're going to be neighbors again, Irina. Yep. She grins before looking at me, a bit sad. But please, don't leave me alone again. I opened my mouth, but I don't know what to say. That was for her own good, but no. She immediately tackled me and hugged me tightly. Don't leave me alone. If you leave me alone, I'm going to cling to you like this forever, she said, puffing her cheeks. Hey, don't be unreasonable, I sighed, but then patting her head. Why do you even want to hang out with me that much anyway? She lifted up her head with a big grin and flushed cheeks. Because I like you. Oi. Ajouchin, people are going to get a wrong idea if you react like that. Irina began to hum as she snug up to my chest, seemingly enjoying the embrace. Never going to leave you again. I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I'm just going to do what I want. She then climbs up and rubbed our cheeks together. Issei-kun is mine. No one can take him. That sounds scary. I sighed but then smiled. I look at the sky. What a turn of events. Looks like things are going to get well from now on. Social groups in elementary schools to me are done by whims of premature children. They don't put much thought in it. They rely more on instinct actually. So when one kid who looks the worst out of them, the kids all avoid him on a whim. They knew they would be isolated if they befriend such a kid, that they would be screwing over their social lives. Now, in middle school, it's a different story. If elementary is where we are introduced to social structures and the basics of socializing, then middle school is where we apply those knowledge to real life. Because socializing in middle school or junior high is more mandatory than it is in elementary. I would be left alone if I didn't talk to anybody in elementary, but in middle school, in a sense, you actually can't be left alone. If you're all alone by yourself, people would talk behind you. They would spread rumors that hurt you, misinformation that aimed to make you school life hard. People say kids are cruel, but teenagers are no different. It can arguably be said that teenagers are crueler than kids can ever be. Honesty is a thing of ignorant kids, but dishonesty is a common tool used by teenagers. Their use of such tool would expand when they reached high school, which is far more dangerous. People spread false information that has no other reason than to spite you, to just push you down beneath the dirt. Because you're different than them, they isolate and do such things to you. Because you're not one of them. Remember when I said about Japan's society that Japan has an obsession with normalcy and collective consciousness. For them, it's either be with mass or be alone and suffer for it. I criticize such thinking because people are different from each other no matter how one put it. Refusing so only means you're pushing away reality. Indeed, God doesn't create one man above the other, but that was only the case during birth. As time passed by, gaps were created and difference became a thing, separating individuals from individuals. There are talents, but there are also flaws as well. As humans, we are epitomized as beings of imperfection. For me, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I find beauty in imperfection. After all, even in the world of fiction, perfection is nothing but an ideal that can't withstand its own weight. To put it simply, middle school is where you learn how to lie, to don a mask. I find it to be disgusting, revolting even. Yet, even though I say a lot of things about lying, making people who does such thing be someone despicable, that is hypocritical on my part. Because there is no one who lies more than myself. 3 years had passed since I moved in Hyoudou Prefecture. Me and my parents settled in nicely, followed by the shittis as they moved next to us. It wasn't very long though until they left again, traveling overseas for job reasons, which is definitely something related to the Excalibur fragment, since I saw Irina's father carrying Excalibur mimic into the house when they first moved in. Since I only, watched the anime from season 1 to season 3, I can only rely so much. Man, the airing for the season 4 was near too. Why can't I reincarnated after that? Anyway, a year after Irina and her family moved into Hyoudou Prefecture, they had some business overseas and was about to sell their house when Irina told them not to. She told them that she needed the house when she returns one day to visit me. After persuading them, Irina left with her family and I had never saw her since. I spent my remaining elementary days quietly. I do feel lonely, of course, seeing as Irina was one of the lights that lit up my world, but she's gone now, so my world was a bit dim. All I have left were my parents, who had been considerable enough to take early leave and days off often now just to spend time with me. I don't feel really lonely with them around. And there's also him, D-Drake, one of the 2 heavenly dragon, the Red Dragon Emperor. Yes, I know. I sighed. Now let me have it in peace. Seeing as I am in Hyoudou Issei's body, I wanted to take advantage of what resides within and train myself up in terms of physical. I have no means in improving my magic abilities, so I had to simply rely on pure strength. I knew I was training myself to death and improving vastly over time, but after 3 years of training, I somehow had awakened the Red Dragon Emperor that had slept inside me. He began talking to me a day ago just as I finished training. He said, seemingly impressed, "You're overestimating me," I said, and continue eating. "I'm not as impressive as you think I am." Which proves my point. I clasped my hand together, "Thanks for the food." I sat up and began washing the dishes. My mana is little to none, and without magic, I can't even hope to be able to operate Balance Breaker. Oi, you're distracted. Thought as much. Magic is useful and I will use it no doubt one day, but I can't right now. So training physically is the best bet for me if I ever want to survive this damn world. The White Dragon Emperor will one day be the biggest pain in the ass. If I came at him weak, then he would just push me to become stronger using any means necessary. And if that's the case, I better avoid it. Then I just have to continue training. I would like to have that power as quickly as possible, since I can just feel things are going to get bothersome in the future, so I need reassurance. I shrugged whilst brushing the plates and putting it aside. Might take a year or 2 or more. Yes, I heard you the first time. I frowned a bit, confused why he said it again. Then I just need to get stronger, right? Or are there more steps to this than I presumably thought? It wasn't really a hard thing to grasp. Get stronger and then you can use it. Why did he need to explain it again? I froze, the dishes clink as I did so. I found myself blinking repeatedly, trying to process what I just heard. Must have been my mind playing tricks on me. There was no way D-Dre just said that. Oh, isn't that too fast? You're joking, right? I continued washing the dishes, dismissing it as some lame joke. Yeah, right. I rolled my eyes and tried to call it out. It doesn't whoa. I accidentally crushed a bowl with my hand. Blinking, I look at my arm as it was covered by that familiar draconic crimson armor, and I quickly noticed that my view was a bit distorted due to the armor covering my face as well. How in the hell? I just raised my eyebrows and tried to dismiss my balance breaker, and it disappeared just like that. That's a bit too much for me. I let out an exasperated sigh. I was only aiming to get stronger just to assure myself. How did it came to this? I knew training all aspect of my physical strength would help me greatly, but not by this much. I didn't want to answer that. I would if it didn't feel like it was as easy as this. Feels like I'm cheating. I don't feel like I earned it though, I said as I finished up and threw away the broken bowl. D-Drake disagreed. I just continue listening. Well, the training was very intense. I wasn't able to count how many times I saw life flash before my eyes. I picked up my bag and went to the front door, sitting down and wore my shoes. Still though, I really don't feel like I earn it. Yeah, well, I'm just telling the truth. I grabbed the doorknob and opened it. I'm going. I can hear Kasan opening the bathroom door. She was doing the laundry. Have a safe trip, Issei. Good thing she didn't see me using the balance breaker. Otherwise, that would be a disaster. I'd like to keep my normal life far, far, far away from the supernatural world. I don't want to endanger their lives. Things have been really quiet since she left. I sighed. Never thought I'd see the day I'll come to miss my annoying tomboy childhood friend. Middle school is going to be a pain, I just know it. For some reason, that pisses me off. Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to be spending that youth alone. I deadpanned. D-Drake, buddy, I have the only friend I had is Irina, and she's gone overseas. I doubt I could find any good people like Irina in this school. This is middle school, for God's sake. It's where kids become teenagers capable of ruining someone's life with their tongue alone. I could look at the mirror and you'll see why, but I couldn't be bothered. I sighed. Let's just say, I'm not good people here, rather, it's the other way around. You'll see. Next person, please introduce yourself. Yep, here goes nothing. Nice to meet you, I'm Hyoudou Issei. I like to read and jog around the neighborhood. Pleased to meet your acquaintance. I introduced myself and bowed. The whole class claps like they did everybody, and that was practically it. I'm just like everyone else, average teenage boy you can find anywhere. This is actually for the best. Possessing a presence that you can find everywhere else is an advantage I had wanted from the start. This would be beneficial for me in the long term, in that I could not be easily detected by the supernatural world. Added to the fact that with Kai manipulation, I can completely mask my life signature as well as deed regs to be completely invisible. Yeah, I had to go through grueling training just so I could learn how to hide myself. I hope Kuroka won't find me. The woman's mastery over senjutsu is nearly identical to Kai manipulation. If she finds out I could use nearly the same technique as hers, I'm screwed. The last thing I want is a cat girl trying to have me impregnate her because of some technique. And yes, it is the same Kai manipulation as the one in Dragon Ball franchise. So it is pretty destructive, and it is a great replacement for magic or mana. Range attack is a must if I ever got myself in trouble. I sat down and let the girl beside me introduce herself. I'm Hyoudou, and so on and so forth. I hoped things would go smoothly, people would ignore me and leave me alone, though I doubt it considering this is middle school wear. But if I made a friend or two, I would be safe. Maybe the person beside me would just do it. Hyoudou was it. Wait, that name sound fammy. Hyoudou. I blinked and turned my head to see a familiar character. Your size is insane. I might need to loosen up before I could take it. My face went pale. Of all the people I meet this early on, it had to be her. Hyoudou, the future perverted queen of Kyo. Why was she no? Wait. Kyo Academy should have their own middle school or junior high, so why is she here? I only watched the 3 seasons of the anime, so I don't know the source material being the light novels. If I remember it correctly, I think she has her own spin-off which involves a character belonging to the supernatural world, so why was she here? Got him, Net. This is going to be. Hey, are you gauging my breast size? No need. It's C-cup unfortunately, but it is still there for the grabs. She grinned as her glasses glisten. A pain in the ass. I just had to raise the flag, didn't I? Really, that's what you had to say? I would have preferred it if you just shut up instead. Nice to meet you too, Kuryusen. I just greeted her formally. Hope we can get along in the future. Or never at all. Too formal. Just call me Eika and I'll call you Issei. Of course that wouldn't work. This is the perverted queen we're talking about. We barely know each other. I'm just going to keep calling yo. If you won't do that, I will spread your size to the female student body. She knows I desire for a normal, peaceful life. That I don't want to deal with troublesome things like that. And she's using that against me. Fine, Eika-san. I stared at her blankly. Remove the Santu. I'm not used to that, she said with a smile. All right, Eika. Hope we can get along, Issei. Whatever sick deity who put me through this, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kick your ass. Class went by normally before came my favorite period of all, lunch break. Since Eika seemed to be out of it fantasizing God knows what, I quickly grabbed my lunchbox and tried to escape. Keyword tried. As I was just getting off my seat, 2 girls came into view, blocking every means of escaping. They were another 2 characters from high school DxD I knew. Murayama-san, Kade-san. I blinked. Do you need something? These 2 girls are not only appealing in the appearance department, but they're also socially outgoing. Considering how the social ladders work, they're mostly at the upper top whilst I'm deep down the underground. I don't know why they're attempting to talk to someone like me who seemed like a walking corpse. The same goes to actually, that is self-explanatory. Hey, Hyoudou-kun. Kade smiled. Wanna eat lunch with us? Yeah. Murayama grinned. Come on, let's eat together. Before they got my consent, they both took chairs to my front and right side and placed their bento down on my table. Seems like they don't want my opinion. Both of them opened their bento, which revealed a nicely decorated and healthy proportional food. I just opened mine and clasped my hand together, muttering time to dig in. Hyoudou-kun, do you know Kuryusen? Kade asked whilst I took some rice and eat it. Whilst munching, I shook my head. No, we just met today. But you seem to be getting along with her very well. I was surprised since Kuryusen was popular for harem behavior. You mean her perverseness that's on par with the original perverted trio? Yeah, I know that very well, which is why I'm surprised when she interacted with me out of the blue. And it was out of her interest in my size as well. I shouldn't be surprised, but I did, since there was no mention of Issei knowing Eika prior to the events of high school DxD. Eika is just very friendly, is all. I replied, to which got me regret since I just called our subject of topic her first name. And you're in first name bossies with her, Murayama pointed out. I just ignored her and continue enjoying my lunch. Are you sure you don't know her before, or maybe you're both going out and you don't want to tell P? No, we're not going out, I quickly but calmly denied. This girl is seriously going to spread harming rumors if she assumes that. Like I said, I've never met her in my life before this. Please understand and accept that. Both Murayama and Kade looked at each other, the former looking guilty that she had dug in too far. Sorry, Hyoudou-kun. I went too far with the question. It's okay. I look at them blankly, just don't assume things without confirming it. You might cause irreversible damage if people heard and spread it. Miriama nodded, right. Sorry again, Hyoudou. I nodded back. Well, that aside, Caddice grinned mischievously before, with a quick swoop, she uses her chopstick to take my egg rolls from my bento. This looks delicious. Time to dig in. Oi, I sighed before Miriama giggled. Would you mind if I have some as well? Miriama asked properly, and I nodded. Thanks, WHOAH. Caddice drools once she finishes the egg rolls she stole from me. This is super delicious. It's very good. Miriama agreed. Did you make this? My mother made it. I continued eating. She's been practicing cooking for my mind went back to 4 years ago before we moved to Kyoto Prefecture. A long time. Both of them tilted their heads at my hesitation, but I just shrugged it off. That incident managed to traumatize the real Issei within, and I couldn't do anything about it. It didn't. No, Issei has weak mental fortitude as a kid. I thought his was all about breasts and girls. Maybe I've reincarnated before he could have any of those interests. Still, this is really delicious. Caddice smiles. I could eat this every day. Your mother must have practiced hard to make something this good, Miriama said. Although I can't argue that, it's just the egg rolls. There are others here that might as well blow your minds. Kasen has been improving. Very much after my criticisms on her cooking. She really did put a lot of effort for me. Yeah, I agreed. Hyoudou, you can have some of mine if you want. Caddice presented her bento to me. I made them, so expect good things from it. Miriama also presented me with hers. You can also have some of mine. Free food is the best. Thanks. I'm not as pathetic as to push away free food. If it presents itself, I will seize that opportunity without any hesitation. And with that, we continue enjoying our lunch break together. Hey, now. A hand suddenly went over my shoulder, the weight pushing me down a bit. Don't leave me out of this. I look to my side and I see a grinning Eika. Why? Just why? I can already see the incoming trouble miles away. I thought we'd enjoy this alone, but I guess a perverted grin, not good. Foursome is okay too. At that, both Miriama and Caddice stared at her wide-eyed as shock riddled all over her face. Then, realization dawned upon them and their faces flares red. Miriama especially. Eika, I called inside. Please don't tease them, you just met them. At least introduce yourself first. I already did that. She looks at them. Besides, it's not like they don't know my name. Right, Miriama-san, Caddice-san. All right. Miriama took a sharp inhale to calm herself down. That surprised me. I didn't know you'd be like that, Kuryu-san. Hell, unexpected, right? That's not funny, you pervert. Kuryu-chan is extreme. How do you get along with someone like Hyoudou here? Caddice asked. Curious got the best of her embarrassment as it fades away quickly. Well, Issei is, don't you dare. I guess he has this presence that just attracts me. I raised my eyebrows. This is unexpected. Not romantically, of course. There's just this sensation that it pulls me in. What a vague and unache-like reasoning. Oh, I get you. Caddice nodded, smiling. I don't know why, but I have this urge to talk to him. It's strange, but it's not unpleasant. Miriama agreed. Same goes to me. I just felt like being around him. Oi, what the hell is this? Is this the power of a harem protagonist? Thanks for the food. I finished and started packing up. You're done already? Caddice blinked. Yeah, I nodded and sat up. You're quite fast, Miriama said. Maybe he's faster in other department. Shut up, Eika. I want to check the library. See you guys later. I waved and quickly left, not giving them the chance to hold me back. What's my reason to go to the library? Well, only one thing: books. Books provide knowledge. Knowledge is power. And power destroy my enemies. Yeah, no, that's what I would have said if not for the fact that I'm lazy. And there's only one thing to do in the library for a lazy person like me: sleep. I found myself getting glared at by 13-year-old Issei. However, he was still in the same position as the other times I've met him, cuddling his knees like a scared little child in need of his mother. Meanwhile, I stood with one hand in the pocket, eyes bored and feeling lazy. Yo, Issei, I greeted. How are you doing? We have Reincarnation already. Why are you hanging out with other girls? I raised my eyebrows at that. So it was because of that. I mean, he should have seen that it wasn't my intention in doing so. It was more like I got swept in the flow. Relax, bud. I crouched down and pat his head. I'm not going to get together with any girl soon. That includes Arena. Reincarnation is ooh. I'm not interested in her like that. I quickly cut him off, sparing the embarrassing accidental confession. I know you do, but I don't. And I have the full control over the vessel, Issei. He puffed his cheeks. The hell, you Trina look cute. It's kinda effective though. Whatever. He faces away. We have a guest. I scoffed. Thought so. We only met if something major happened in our lives. But there hasn't been anything like that since years, so me sleeping and dreaming like this again could only mean something else. Never thought this dream can be invaded by something else. I can't be here. That thing scares me, so I'll be going, Issei said and vanishes into thin air. Seems like whatever it is, it intimidates Issei. I narrowed my eyes, and I appreciate it if you don't do that. I turned around and right in front of me stood a normal teenager. What he was wearing a high school uniform and looks like your average run-off-the-mill teenage boy you can see anywhere. This is unexpected. Hello. He greets and smiles in this way that puts me off. It's a pleasure meeting you, Tadahira Karasawa. I see thighs is what Issei meant. Although he seemed normal, something about him just puts me off. He exudes this aura of normal, but he looks too normal that it feels abnormal. He pretends to be normal so flawlessly that it just disorients me. You or I don't like where this is going. I would like to say I'm no one special, but what kind of no one special could enter your mindscape like this, right? He chuckles. I am Egan, god of patience, otherwise known as the blood god for some maniacal cults. I raised my eyebrows. I don't think a god like that exists in high school DxD. Indeed, I'm not a god from that show, or any show for the matter. A god, of course they can read my mind. I shouldn't be surprised. So you're well aware I'm currently reside in a fictional world. It is as fictional as one perceives it to be, and I expect you to consider such world anything but fictional, Kurosawa. His smile widened, especially after what you made Hyoudou Issei, the supposed protagonist of the world, go through during his childhood. He's beating around the bush. No, he's trying to study me, to understand what kind of person I am, but for what reason this god is not only shrouded in mystery, but his objective is unclear as well. What is he aiming for? Let's get straight to the point. What do you want? I asked, my face as blank as it can be. Depending on your answer, I'll kick you out and there won't be any future discussion from then. He doesn't seem to be bothered. He's very confident. All right, he nodded. Well, it started when God died in the War of the Three Factions. Egan began. You see, previously, I know him through this world's creator, BGMI. And by that, I meant the author who wrote the series. Oh, you actually talked to the author. He's a pretty decent guy, and I find myself getting interested in whatever he wrote, which, to my surprise, is a pretty perverted series that aims to service the readers. The guy really said that it was a marketing strategy, attracting hormone-driven teenagers to buy his light novels with the indecent illustrations. I expect as much, but I'd like to think that he actually enjoyed writing high school DxD. However, I never met him, so I can't confirm. So I asked him, what would the story be like if someone else wrote it? My eyes narrowed. Where are you going with this? He said that it would vastly be different, since writing something will always be driven by making something we want. And each person has different wants. Egan chuckles before his eyes formed a serious frown. I came here hoping to try and change things up the way I wanted it to be, but it seems like someone has beaten me to it. I frowned. So it wasn't you who reincarnated me into Issei's body? He shook his head. No, not at all. I was hoping I'm the one who entered Issei's body. He scoffed before he walked towards me. Kurosawa, as it stands, I'm still intend to enter his body, but you already occupied it. That's right. As he walks slowly, his appearance changed. After all, it would be far more interesting if someone like you walked this world as Hyoudou Issei. His black hair turned into this red color akin to blood. His eyes became dark blue and formed X in same color as his hair, and the overall shape of his face also changed. Stood before me as a god whose appearance looks appealing in a way I can't really describe or perceive it properly. I'm sure if it was a girl that's standing on my shoes, she'd wet herself and salivate, because that's just how good looking this guy is. It wasn't handsome or cute, it's just strangely appealing. Is this what God's charm's capable of? Alas, I still want to participate, which why, he raised his hand, I will bestow you with my power. Although it won't be much of use considering your soul having to be compatible with the Red Dragon Emperor, it could be of use in emergencies. His smile now looks real more than anything. Like maybe, facing something greater than the Great Red himself or off eyes. I hummed interest. You're that powerful. Indeed. His eyes narrowed, but I think my Indeed Reg's power can hardly be used by someone who desires peace and someone terrifying as you. I look at him. You're overestimating me. I sighed. This is not what I expected. I feel like I'm cheating, having your powers. It's making me feel like an overpowered protagonist, and I don't like that. Egan chuckles. Even without me Indeed Reg, you would still be overpowered, what with the body you attain currently. He circles around me, observing every detail of my body. After all, the body, while Issei's, it's your effort. This place not only reflects people's true selves and desires, but also their efforts. Your body currently, as Tadahira Kurosawa, shows quite a bit. He stops in front of me, arms crossed. As you are right now, even I'm not sure I could beat you. All right. I sighed again in defeat. I'll agree to your deal. Showering me in praises makes me uncomfortable, so stop that. Egan hums. I'm just telling the truth. He raises his hand again. Besides, this is just so I can observe you at the front seat. You won't be using my powers much, not even the Red Dragon Emperor's. I grab his hand and we shake hands. After all that effort and training, I assume you've become quite a lazy person, and that's perfectly fine with me. I am the god of patience. Waiting indefinitely like a lazy bum is my thing. I raised my eyebrows. You're a lazy god. He smirks. Makes you a perfect host for my powers. Yes, my vision began to fade into white. We both know you like to achieve great results with little to no effort. That's what makes you terrifying, Kurosawa. With words, you could flip the world upside down. I opened my eyes slowly before sitting up. I stretched my body, feeling all the exhaustion leaving my body. I look around and the library was as quiet as always. I look at the time only to find out that I've only been sleeping for less than 10 minutes. I inhaled. Power nap. Oh, not bad, I guess. I stood up and walked out of the library. Did you see it? I guess he didn't see the dream then. Nothing. I dismissed. I'd like to keep that exchange a secret. I kept quiet and continued walking towards the classroom. Just as I was on my way to class, the bell rings, marking the end of lunch break. I arrived at the classroom and sat on my seat, head on my palm as I waited for the teacher to get into the classroom. I see both Miriam-san and Kade-san looking at me with a smile. I just nod in acknowledgement and then look at my side only to see Eika making an indecent hand gesture where she asked for sex or something. Her left index and thumb forming a circle and her right index finger poked through the gap with that stupid grin of hers. She mouthed, "Sex please." I stared her blankly before mouthing, "Screw you," and then went to ignore her. The school went by normally and it was time to go back home. I packed my stuff and quickly walked away, saving myself from the grasps of the 3 female friends I made today. Not like I don't enjoy their company, I'm just tired and need to rest. A few games and mangas will solve the problem. As I was walking through the school gates, someone ran up beside me. "Issei, why'd you leave me like that?" "Of course it had to be you, Eika. Am I under the obligation of walking you home, Eika?" I asked without facing her as I continued my tracks. "No, but at least let me catch up to you. You're way too fast." I could see her stupid grin even without facing her. "Otherwise, you'd make me coo." "Alright, let's stop it there." I cut in, sighing as I face her. "Where's the direction of your house?" Right this way." She led the way and I followed. As we were walking, there was a comfortable silence between us. I find it strange considering Eika being perverted and lousy she is. However, this silence causes me to think of what she said earlier when Kade asked her why she befriends someone like me. He is this presence that just attracts me. There's some truth in that, but I can clearly see there's more to it than that. Eika in the series is portrayed to be a perverted girl that always messes with Issei, Matsuda and Madohama. She is someone that exists solely to be this breath of fresh air from the supernatural world, someone that reminds the viewers or readers that Issei also has a life in the normal world. She served that purpose just fine, but I heard there was a spin-off series with her as the protagonist. I haven't had the chance to read it, but after meeting her and observing her behavior and the subtlety in her acts, I came into the conclusion that she's more than what meets the eye. "Eika, what are you after?" I asked. At that, she stops. I too stopped moments later, however I didn't face her. "Issei." I still faced forward. "Why do you distance yourself from others?" "Oh, I see. Perceptive. I have my reasons," I replied, but I don't feel like elaborating it since we just know each other today. "But what makes you think that, Eika? You seem like you forced yourself to talk and befriend me." She noticed that too. Even with Miriam-san and Kade-san. You forced yourself to interact with them, like it's an objective rather than you wanting it. "That's what makes you think I distance myself from others?" I finally turned around and faced her. "If I said that it's not true, would you believe it?" Eika stares at me in the eyes, hers were moistening. "Why'd she get so emotional? I'm just some guy you met today. Why are you being like this?" "No, of course I wouldn't." She looks down. "I can see that you didn't want to do anything with us, like it's something you should do, your calling in this world." She glared at me. I merely raised my eyebrows. "And I already have a feeling you'd do something stupid just so you wouldn't get involved with us directly. Something that harms you." I hummed, "HM. I narrowed my eyes. "Now why would I do that?" "The incident with Reincarnation." My eyes shot wide and I stared at her. Her glaring was still not let down. "I was there. I knew Reincarnation and that she was close to you. So you were with those kids that took pleasure in kicking me down." I scoffed. She immediately averted her gaze away guiltily. "Or so you think I'd say." I couldn't care less anymore. I took a sharp inhale. "Eika, what do you want exactly?" "A chance," she said, staring at me with determination in her eyes. "A chance for me and both Miriam-san and Kade-san. You will talk to them, I know that, but you would expect only bad things in return. I want you to stop that thinking and give us a chance." I blinked. "Are you sure?" "Yes. People don't like me much. You might get your reputation ruined by involving with me." "I don't care. You would have trouble find friends in the future." "I would still try. You might get hurt in the process. If it's for your trust, getting hurt is only natural." She smiles. Her tears finally flowed out. "After all, you hurt yourself for the sake of everyone. Getting hurt for your sake is a small price to pay. You're saying some ridiculous things." My lips curved. "Really? Was what I did back then really impacted you this hard? You seem like you were close with Irina, so you must have known my side of story from her. Reincarnation is a close friend, but she always talk about you." She walked closer. "She said that you're her dear friend and that she admires everything about you. I always wanted to talk to you, but then." I sighed. "That happened." I still smiled. "Well, past is past. What matters is now." I extended my hand towards her, aiming for a handshake. "Nice to meet you, Eika. I hope we can get along." She blinks before she smiles brightly and lunged towards me, surprising me by hugging me much like what Irina did. "Yes, I hope so too." Oi, I chuckled, but then pat her head, much like I did with Irina back then. "What's with you girls and hugging a guy out of nowhere? People might get the wrong idea." She giggles and looks at me with that stupid grin of hers. "Well, it might look like I'm giving you a blowj." I lightly chop her head. "Stop." I sighed. "You and your jokes. You're as hard to deal with as Irina." "Not like you find that unpleasant, do you?" she said, still hugging me. "Yeah." I look at the sky again, just the same way as back then. It looks like no matter what I do, I'd get involved with the cast of High School DxD one way or another. I have a feeling it goes the same for the heroines, mainly Riz Gremory. But for now, oi, stop sniffing. I chop her head again. "Ouch, you put more power in that." "Of course, you idiot. I think I'll just enjoy what I have now." The green skies of the demon world stretched endlessly across. One man walks alone in the uncharted lands as a realm as vast as the demon world would have too much space for the now smaller numbers of demons. Pure-blood ones, at least. However, said man wasn't by any means a demon but a fallen angel. Fallen angel shares the same world as the demons after they fell from grace. As for how that is a story for another time, for none of them matters more than thighs. What do we have here? The man possesses a prominent feature being his blonde black hair supported by his handsome face, and he greeted an equally handsome man whose long hair painted crimson. It's as if some god decided to pay the demon world a visit, Sirzech. Azazel, the crimson-haired man known as Sirzech, smiled. I wish I could say that's the case, but yeah. Azazel sighs as they both turn to look at the subject of their discussion. No god would be able to do this. I wouldn't even think any god would visit due to our current circumstances. Right in front of them is a large beast, or what's left of it, which was an unknown creature not belonging from any existing mythologies. They could feel its power surpassing even ultimate-class devils, but it stood dead, torso torn, but there was no trace of its upper body. Right behind it, heading towards the skies, was a large hole strangely almost shaped like a fist. It's like someone just killed whatever this thing is in a single hit, and that single hit tore a hole in the sky. Azazel commented, observing the mass destruction caused. Whoever's the one that killed this thing, I don't think I'd want to get on their bad side. From our investigations, it was done unintentionally. Sirzech turns around, seeing a tear in space. The one who did this merely came upon our world by accident and then faced this thing. It's powerful and fast enough to tear space into our realm. The unstable spatial tear fluctuates and lets out a ghostly hum. Oi, oi. The look of realization on Azazel's face would have amused Sirzech had it not been for this possibility. You don't think the one that did this is a human? Sirzech faces Azazel and narrowed his eyes, forming a serious frown. I hope that's not the case, but this tear leads to the human world. He trails his finger on the outlines of the tear. If we open this, we would just be feeding the dimensional gap with the demon world, so it's best not to tamper with it. Supposed a human that did this, what do we take this as? Azazel asked. He has his own conclusion, but he wants to hear Sirzech's. A warning, Sirzech replied, and Azazel nodded, agreeing as their conclusion is the same. Yeah, I think so too. Azazel looks again at the massive fist-shaped hole in the sky. I knew some descendants of heroes are planning on making a faction aimed to surpass and slay every powerful entitas, but I don't think this person is one of them. Sirzech agreed. Yes, I don't think so too. Could it be him? Azazel's voice was quiet, and the indication was none short of danger. Sirzech's eyes narrowed. The possibility is close to zero, but we shouldn't let our guard down. Azazel sighs once again. One problem after another. Time is getting short. Indeed, Sirzech sighed. There's not much time left. Damn. Azazel shook his head. I hope we can declare peace between the three factions soon. Chapter 3, A Change in Canon. I yawned as I relaxed on the couch, watching whatever show was on. Today is Sunday, a blessed day where I can laze around as much as I want. Honestly, after giving a chance to Eika, Murayama, and Kades, my school life is too hectic for me. They've hung out with me more times than I thought, and we became a group. I don't know how one guy could enter a circle of 3 girls but give back my peaceful, quiet life, damn it. As such, Sunday is the day where I rest myself from all of these things somewhat. Going around with the girls, shopping, going to arcades and such, it was pretty tiring, so I deserve this rest. A wise man said, there's nothing more blessing than to be able to do anything one wants, and I stand by that quote. Mostly because I'm the one who created here, but that's beside the point. I get to laze around, it feels very nice. Hyoudou Issei, is Eika not visiting today? Kasen asked, and I just groaned, burying my face on the sofa. No, I want to be free from her grasp today, Kasen. I replied, though my voice is muffled. Besides, I wonder how you both got along with that problematic personality of hers. Eika is a nice girl, Kasen replied. What kind of impression did she left? Just what kind? What part of her is problematic? What part? How about all of her damn self? Ugh, whatever, Kasen. I groaned. Damn that girl. Even when she's not here, she's still able to annoy me. Oh, by the way, there's a package at the front. Irina left for you. I quickly perked up at that. Irina, I blinked. You two really are childhood love hearts. I had never seen you reacted like that with anyone at all. Kasen giggled, and I just shook my head. It's not like that. Irina's my best friend. She hadn't contacted me for so long, so I'm kinda worried. I stood up and went to the front door. I'd like to think she lost her phone or SIM and nothing else. To that, Kasen just tilted her head in confusion whilst I ignored her. I looked at the package and it was unexpectedly larger. I carried it, which was heavy for normal humans, and brought it to my room. Strangely, I felt a familiar holy energy encasing around it. What did Irina send me anyway? I asked to particularly no one and opened the box. Once opened, my eyes widened. What hell? Right in front of me is Excalibur, there was no doubt about it. The dense holy energy it held, the designs, this is an Excalibur. But damn it, I can't remember what part of Excalibur this is. Couldn't be Mimic since it was different. Not Destruction either. And I don't know what other Excalibur fragments look like. And Ruler is at the hands of Arthur Pendragon. Godamnit, what the hell did you send me, Irina? Shit quickly, however, bearing the powers of the blood god, I smell faint scent of blood on the blade. Devils and fallen angels seemed recent too. What the hell happened? I clenched my fists. I hope she's fine. On the Excalibur, there was a letter. I took it and began reading the content. I can't really say much, Issei, but things had been fucked up on my side. I'm lending you this blade in case something happens on your side. In the meanwhile, you keep it, and if there's some shit happening on your side, use it. I know you have the capability to. You might not understand all of this, but just trust and listen to what I say. Thanks, and I love you, Issei. I still need your answer. It's in English. I sighed before narrowing my eyes. It's a good thing I understood it, but what the hell happened? My eyes trailed on the blade before arriving on my desk, where a frame of me in Irina can be seen. I was being distant as I was, hands pocketed and eyes dead. However, Irina was bright, but her hair was cut short and she had a metal bat on her side. Right, this had happened too. I never considered this since my mind was stuck on the canon storyline. People who knew Irina as a character would have seen the letter as someone else writing it in Irina's stead, but actually, it isn't. Due to me inhabiting Issei's body, there was bound to be changes on my surroundings as well. Might as well call it the butterfly effect. Due to me bullied in the past, Irina makes it so that wouldn't happen, so when we moved into Kyoto Prefecture, she became very tomboyish, and that evolved into delinquency. She'd start to beat the crap out of any poor boys that even dares to make fun of me. I remember the countless time I had to hold her back before she went too far. Yes, Irina had undergone a massive personality change. Some may call this out of character, or OOC for short. This is caused by my presence as someone controlling over Hyoudou Issei's body. Although I didn't foresee such thing happening, it did, and it happened by a flash. By the time I came to know it, it was already too late and there was no way to change it. The metal bat she had was used to beat some guy that had hit me before. The brutality unbefitting of the character Hyoudou Irina, it's quite a change. But there were still semblances of her original character, like her sweet and modest side. Despite being a delinquent, she was still pretty girlish in some part, like having some stuffed animals in her room. That and her undying affection for me. Before she left, she confessed to me and said she'd wait for my answer after she returns. I was practically dazed at the time since Irina was so sincere in her confession I didn't know how to react. In the end, all I can think of now is rejecting her, but knowing her new personality, she won't give up. But now, it came to this. She sent me one of the Excalibur fragments. So why? No, that doesn't matter right now. What matters the most currently is to hide this blade. It emits a very powerful energy that might as well be a beacon, calling forth trouble. I need to find a way to hide this somehow. Wait, my eyes widened before frowning. D-Drag. I sighed. I didn't. A friend did, and she asked me to take care of it. With my fingertips, I touched the cold steel. Forget that. Can you take this blade, and if you can do that, then I can simply erase its presence using Kai manipulation. Good, then let's take it in. I grabbed the hilt of the blade. Well, here goes. The Excalibur fragment lets out a blinding light, making me squint before slowly the light dims down. I was holding one of the Excalibur fragments unharmed. Looks like Irina was right. I can use the Excalibur. I scoffed. I'm a freak enough as it is. I muttered quietly before holding the blade in front. Now, can you absorb it? Not before long. The blade melts before all the liquid went towards my arm, as if my arm was absorbing. The process was actually quite fast and somewhat different than from what I've seen in the anime. Must have been the blood god's power, since I don't remember melting blade before. Once it was inside, I can feel the holy energy coursing through my body. With Kai manipulation, I had managed to suppress it to non-existent, completely masking the presence of the holy energy. I heaved a sigh. Okay, that's done. Damn. Excalibur, what's supreme? I've never heard of it before. What the hell? Excalibur Supreme, I've never heard of it before, I said, motioning him to elaborate. I raised my eyebrows. That's new to me. Do I look like it? No. I sighed. What's with these random protagonists? I happen to be special to be able to do this and that event that's been going on. Seriously, this needs to stop. This'll just bother me on so many levels. I don't plan on getting involved with the supernatural much yet. I knew at some point I'd have to do something about Ria's situation, considering I somewhat occupy the body of her savior. The possibility of her losing the rating game is much higher, and her arranged marriage might be fulfilled if that happens. It was only through the determination of Hyoudou Issei's love for her that she was saved. So what can I narrowed my eyes. Right. Unconsciously, a smile crept up to my face. I don't have to be directly involved, I can just move things from behind the scenes. Which makes me think, when and how should I do it? Do I have to let her know of my existence, or should I not? My chances of saving her are much higher if she knows my existence, as that would grant me access to do many things and be at her rating game without people questioning it, but that would not only require me to sacrifice my peaceful normal life but also risk in getting involved with her. So, how the hell should I do this? Need some time to think about this, I nodded as I stood up. Ramen it is. And you never will, now shut up. After getting some allowance from Kasen, I set off to a ramen stand to get a ramen of my own choosing. Ordering some, I waited as I sat on a stool fiddling around with my smartphone. I had no idea how much importance smartphones held when I was born in an age before their existence. I had to wait a few years before a decent one came out, and I had to use the crappy flip phones. Thankfully, with smart saving and patience, I was able to get my hands on one, though the functions are still somewhat outdated in accordance to my previous world. The Android versions, the interface and whatnot. Still, glad to just be able to swipe things instead of clicking buttons to investigate. Much more convenient this way. Whoa, a real ramen stand. Geez, does this girl have to yell? My ears hurt, man. I've been meaning to taste Japanese cuisines like ramen for a long time. What Thito, we got a weeb on our hands now, excuse me. Can I get a ramen of your recommendation, please? Sure thing, Ajouchin. The Gramps at the kitchen replied as he places mine. Here you go, kid. Try to have a talk with the foreigner kid there, would you? She seemed too excited and I don't want my things broken. He whispers and smiles, the ramen's on me if you do so. They say fools would fall for such simple request, but they'd be bigger fools if they ignore free food. So I conceded. I mentally sigh, will do, Asen. Still, for a foreigner, she can speak Japanese quite fluently, and her voice is somewhat fummy. Oh no. This flag, no, this can't be good. I turned to my right and what invaded my sight was a sea of crimson, a color I familiarized myself with too much. However, her current stature could be said small, smaller than I had imagined. She seemed to be a year younger, but I knew better than to judge. After all, the one currently sitting beside me excitedly waiting for her ramen is none other than Rhea Gremory, the main heroine of High School DxD. I just gawked at her sudden appearance. I sincerely didn't expect to meet her this early on. After all, I'm still in my first year of junior high, so Rhea is naturally younger as well. At this stage, she would have met Akino and saved her from those shrine maniacs. But it looks like she hasn't. I guess this is why she was here. Hyoudou Prefecture is a big place considering it is fictional, something that didn't exist in my world. TCH, now I have to talk to her. Free food doesn't look appealing now. Hey, why are you looking at me like that? I know I'm pretty, but please stop, she said, blinking at my direction as I was still gawking. Have I ever mentioned once that I hate pretty girls? Also, what's with your eyes so creepy? I think I can feel a vein popping somewhere on my forehead as this red mop of a creature commented my eyes. One of the things I hated about pretty girls is that they think it's their duty to point out flaws in people's appearance, something they can't control. The fact that they did so without so much in the care of the world pisses me off greatly. Shut up, you red mop, I muttered. What did you say? Oops, she heard it. I forgot she's a devil, they have enhanced hearing. Nothing. I ignored her as I slurped my ramen. What makes you think I didn't hear what you say? She stood up, slammed her hands on the counter and growls at me, making a commotion which in turns disturbed my time of eating in peace and silence. So I slurp, munching for a bit before swallowing. I don't take a liking how someone can overreact this way and manage to piss me off by this much. Oi, I turned towards her, leveling a glare which I had never done to any person before. Quiet down, you're disturbing other people here, I said. Once she saw my glare, almost immediately she shrinks back and then sits down. Once she sat down, I sighed and went back to eating. This Ajouchin is not good for my health. Sheesh, is Rhea's always this bratty when she's a child? Surzets must have been spoiling her too much. I also forgot that devils have pride, which can be counted as arrogance, and Rhea's in particular am very prideful of her own appearance. Not that I find any fault in that, just don't push that kind of crap onto me and we'll be fine. People can do whatever they want with their lives, I couldn't care less. Just don't cause other people problems. Sorry, she apologized as she twiddled with her fingers. Don't apologize to me, apologize to the chef. He's the one doing the business here, I replied, without facing her as I was too busy enjoying my ramen. Sorry, Tenchosen. Rhea's apologized to the old man who smiles. Nah, it's okay. Just don't be too energetic. This Issei kid here don't really appreciate rowdiness, he replied as he gave me a thumbs up. I nodded. This Gramps knew me for a long time since I'm a regular here, so we go way back. Guess now I don't have to pay for the ramen, good grief. Issei, your name's Issei? Rhea asked, blinking. Hyoudou Issei, nice to meet you, kid, I replied, completely forgetting that I'm most likely younger than her. Oi, oi, the Gramps smirk. You're acting like you're older than her. Our personalities tell that much, I remarked and slurp another serving of the noodles. Anyway, don't cause trouble for other people, you hear? Rhea's nodded. Why yeah. Before then she smiles brightly, uncharacteristically if I might say. My name's Rhea Gremory, heiress to the Gremory clan. Nice to meet you, Issei. Hoi, hoi. Straight to first name basis for someone who's obsessed with Japan culture. I assumed you know first name basis only reserves for people close and comfortable with each other. I'm not even your servant yet or ever. Oi, are you some Yakuza's kid or something? The Gramps questioned. I scoffed. You wish. She's much worse. She's the devil's spawn, literally. I wouldn't really call the devils of this reality evil, as they come off mostly as neutral than anything really. Can't deny that there are evil ones, but the same can be said to humans. Angels too, but they're more apparent as the ones that do fell from grace becoming fallen angels, and even then, not all of them are evil. To put it simply, creatures of this reality isn't so simple as to place them as black and white. I'm convinced Rhea's would be someone mature for her age, but it seems I was wrong. I guess, in a way, I should have expected this considering there are times she exhibits some immature behavior like fighting over Issei, I mean. Still, seeing her now makes me wonder how she could fall for someone like me, or at least the original Issei. Realistically, someone like Rhea's wouldn't have even spared a glance. Must be anime logic. Hey, don't talk about me as if you know me. Rhea's came in with a pout. Why are you acting like some adorable lowly character with a lot of mo? And yes, I do know you. Maybe not somewhere around personal level, but I do know your motivations and your insecuritism. Now I sound like a stalker. Sure. I finished the ramen by drinking the soup. Phew, thanks for the food, I said and placed a bowl on the counter. Thank you for your patronage, kid. Do come again, the Gramps said and winked. Free food is the best, indeed. Hey, wait. Riaz called and I just sighed. Ajouchin, I'm not even supposed to interact with you yet. Why are breaking the canon like this, or wait, who am I to tell her that I also break the canon by overhauling Issei's personality with my own? What is it, Grimorson? I asked, looking at her dead in the eyes. I want to talk more. Come on, you don't want to accompany a cute girl like me. First, you insult me and then unreasonably get angry for something so stupid, which also warrants for since you did insult me. And now you want me to stay be consistent, you red mop. No, you're going to be troublesome. You have the whole engagement thing going on, which I will do something as even I don't think you deserve such fate. Instant response. Without a heartbeat, yes. Come on, I'd be lonely. Yeah, don't care. I'll treat to as many ramen as you like. Free food is the best. Did I stutter? All right. I conceded and sat back on the stool. Asin, same order. Add more chashu though. Common right up. The Gramps smirked as he places down Ria's order. Here you go, Ajouchin. My recommendation. Oh, wah, are those stars in her eyes, man? These anime elements are getting out of hand, it's ridiculous. Time to dig in. You seem like you wanted to say that in front of two real Japanese people for the longest time. As expected of a weeb, she knows how to eat ramen properly. I guess the way to eat ramen is quite popular outside too. Can't really stand people eating ramen with their forks. Very insulting. Whilst we eat, she looks at me, cheeks full with ramen. Oi, why are you looking adorable right now? She smiles and started to ask me various questions, most of which relates to answering her curiosity with Japan. This really must be her first time in Japan. Hey, Issei. She looks at me. Both our bowls were empty, but we were eating some fish cakes to pass time. Her treat, of course. Yes, Riaz, I took a bite on my fish cake. This is quite good. I'm giving you the privilege of being the first member of my peerage, she suddenly declares, and I stared at her witty-eat. What do you say? You'll become stronger and cooler. This Gil, is she serious? She hasn't recruited a Kino yet and then she jumps straight to recruiting me? Hyoudou Issei. This goes far and beyond what the canon is supposed to be. We've already broken the story progression and development. Too honestly, I'm figuring out what to do. You see, she looks down. Her eyes are droopy and sad. Oh, come on. That's not fair. You can't just place crying girls against me. Back from where I'm from, there's this meaty forcing me to marry him, but I don't like him at all. And now you give out your backstory. Ugh, I guess being a kid makes her vulnerable and more prone on to sharing her story easily than when she's a teenager. She looks at me. I could see tears, yet she seemed very determined. So I'm gathering a peerage of my own so I can fight him off and reject him. She grabs my hand with a pleading look on her face. Please, Issei, can you help me? With a toothpick on my mouth, I bit onto it while thinking. I could always leave this alone and wait for the event in the future, but this is reality. Anything can happen, as proven with this encounter. Seriously, if the story is this dynamic, then there's no telling what'll happen in the future. It's better I do something now than later. Better be safe than sorry. I scoffed a bit, not mocking her, mind you. Then I flicked her on the forehead and she was surprised to find that my flick hurts. Oh, what was that for? Nothing. I gave her a blank face as I tilted my head. Riaz. She seemed to notice that even though I had a blank face on, my eyes were serious. Why yes, I won't join your peerage. She blinked, completely baffled. A smile made its way to my face as I shifted the toothpick to the left. But that doesn't mean I won't help you. Somehow, we were in our own world. It's weird. I feel like I'm not being my usual self and instead Besomion, who I thought I abandoned a long time ago. I raised my hand and ruffled her mop of red hair. However, you should also help yourself as well. Since this is your problem, shoulder it too. I softly look at her in the eyes. In return, I will do my best to help you too. I could see heat rushing to her cheeks, yet another anime element. Really? I nodded. Yeah. I stood up. Riaz, I called as I faced forward towards the direction of my home. Yes, she blinks. Don't be too dependent on me, will you? I waved and walked away. See you. I frowned as I walked away. This is a change in canon. There's a lot I have to do and it isn't going to be easy.